Awusia se de Felix Ofosu kwache akwa akohia ne mita enya asem ketwa esanse videos ahodo a Felix Ofosu kwache eka no in 2024 and 2023 no amanfo bi abo video na kire no e national television so a omode saa videos ni nyina no agu nanimu ase a enya asem ketwa ni nyina no ebi fa koko ho nsensem ho sanso and other issues are in 2024 NDC amanyuku no e de ye omo campaign na e wo koko ho de nyina enim say in 2024 big promises and NDC amanyuku no e promise koko akuafo no omo kire koko akuafo ne say 3100 na NPP amanyuku no etuamo omo as a year per bag koko price per bag no omo kire omo say sa 3100 no enye eti koko akuafo no ento abama omo no mo ba de a mo be make sure say 6500 na akuani bia no per bag obe receive na aboa ama akuayo adwuma koko akuayo adwuma no ho aba be ya anika ma manfo bebre nso e de omo ho agim den so akuafo no 2026 yi omani atutu aka omo nsemu a enya asanketu ni nyina ne say 2026 yi na according to NDC amanyuku no mo che say world market cocoa prices are dropping. Etinisa a 3500 a omo ankasa baaye omo beyi free 3100 e de call 3500 no mo kire se omo se teso e de aba 2500 na se omo yi poli 1000 Ghana cedis e de free so no and na start conversations a omo defend omo nso a can be a de achre aban no can be a de achre aban no no na Felix Ofosu kwache nso akwa ka ho nsem a enedie Dr Mahmoud Bawumia aid aye friend Dr Kabiru ama chese wagu nanim asimpoto e national television so a enya asem ketua videos any promises ahodo a Felix Ofosu kwache mu NDC amanyuku ni mpanifo Sam George mu His Excellency John Dramani Mahama mu e promise koko akuafo ni nyina no wa police videos ni nyina ba chese odi egu omanimu ase a enya asem ketua enya no nko big promises bi to say 24-hour economy na according to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama eno ena ye the main campaign message no and also videos ahodo a na efa hu nyina in 2024 na ye dey campaign ahodo no Dr Kabiru chese Dr Bawumia aid no use sa videos ni nyina no e de agu Felix Ofosu kwache ni mu ase a ama enedie even NDC amanyuku no eye supporters ni bi kire se sa $70 million a ye de ko Minister of Communication Office Minister of Government Communication Office no omu kire mu a sa 70 million ne de ehun amanfa so because we heard the way a Dr Bawumia aid agu nanimu ase de a ene na enya asem keto akra
constituency and a former economic advisor to the former vice president and flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Dr. Kabiru Mahama, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Alfred. And good morning to my colleagues on the panel.
A lot of the
viewers, especially the good people of Wale Wale.
Perfect. A lot of what Felix Kwacho, the Honorable Felix Kwacho also has been talking about, directed at you, and decisions that were taken. In fact, cocoa was central to your message yesterday. You carried some cocoa to Parliament. You had one.
Yeah, so once again, I want to say thank you. First and foremost, we need to acknowledge that we are in February 2026. We are not yet in January 2025. And that these high hills that the government is still on, they have to come down from that high hills or those high hills. And that to still be blaming a government that you had taken over from in the past 12 months to speak to a lack of solutions to the problem. In any case, let's be granted that the MPP caused the problem on the basis of which you were voted into power. You have no business coming to look Ghanaians on the face when you profess to the whole country that you have what it takes to rescue the country. In any case, you told us you will run the economy aground. Yet you are telling us today that you have been able to rescue the economy. Why can't you rescue the cocoa sector? So this duplicity and double standard in the measures they use to even judge their own competence is mind-boggling, because you told us that the economy was run aground. You were able to rescue it, but a sector of the economy, which is cocoa sector, you've not been able to rescue it, and you are still blaming, sending the roses to where it doesn't, and actually sending maybe the grass to somewhere it doesn't belong. Look, this government made a clear promise to farmers based on their understanding of the cocoa sector. And when you made the promise that you're going to give farmers 6,000, 7,000 Ghana cedi per bag, you were clear in your promise. Now, you were also not, you were using the existing exchange rate at that time to make your calculation. That when Forex was not doing so well, it is sometime to the 14, sometime to the 13. You were using that. But when you even came to power, you used what you call your Bank of Ghana rate, which was not even up to the 70% that you promised. Because if you are going to give farmers dollar, give them the dollar equivalent, let us use the prevailing market rate of the exchange rate to determine what you can buy. Because when the LBCs are going to buy the dollar, they don't use the Bank of Ghana rate. They use the commercial bank rates. So you cannot hide under numbers and try to say that what you are giving. In any case, if a government is telling me that 5% is better than 10%, and then 3,500 is better than, 2,500 Ghana cedi is better than 3,600 Ghana cedi, it tells you the kind of analysis they are doing with this particular problem. Look, you created a problem. The problem is that the cocoa sales are forward sales. And we all know, even Randy, as the chief executive officer, professed so many solutions. I sat on TV and he was the host, claiming to know the solution, highlighting the forward sales of cocoa, and said that there was no reason why you'll be making a commitment into the future. Prices are determined, and then you are still making losses. Yet, we had a forward sale for a particular season. You decided to lock the goods down, thinking that prices were going to increase because the projection was that prices will increase. You end up not selling as many as 70,000 tons. That is basically going to be a cost to you.
The 70,000, was it not part of the 333,000 that you had already committed?
And I'm saying that if they had committed it, they would have picked it at that particular period. It did not to be there. If they had committed it, and they had committed it to the forward sales, then it wouldn't have been a problem and locked down in their warehouse, because you have committed the prices and the prices is forward. Agreement is an agreement. So it cannot be true that you said that the 70,000 were part of the goods that you committed to for the forward sale, and that prices were determined with your off-taker for that particular sales. Then, when prices plummeted, the off-takers are saying they will not take it. It cannot be true, because once you agree on the price, but the incompetence of that decision was the fact that they were predicting, they were hoping that prices of cocoa would increase further. And when it started declining, they were still hopeful that it is going to. And that caused them to have as much as 70,000 tons of cocoa not being able to be sold. And you come back to tell us that, MPP government ran down the cocoa sector, syndicate. In any case, we know that in 2024, there was no advances, if any, loan, because cocoa board loan was considered as part of contingent liability on the state. So if the state cannot take money, cocoa board invariably cannot take money. Okay,
but that was a consequence of a situation from 2022
I'll come to that situation. I'll come to that situation. Now, we are not running. We've litigated on several platforms of the problems.
Right.
In that the causes of that crisis is well known and is open secret, and that the president himself on international platform has admitted to those particular causes. Now, we told you that, one, you left financial sector, which was in delirious situation. We had to come and clean up that sector. That cost us over 30 billion Ghana cedi. You left energy sector payment, which we had to work on, which cost us a lot of money. You left the, the COVID-19 came in, which we had to spend to protect lives, which we had to spend in order to give nurses respite, which we had to spend in order to give so many people protection, which we were very clear that it was going to come at a cost to the fiscals. We were very clear on that. The president stated clearly that was going to cost us the fiscal. The German chancellor also mentioned clearly that, look, I will do whatever it takes to protect life, but I hope you will not come back to be telling me or asking about the fiscals. So when there's any crisis, you expect government to intervene, assuming there's no lives that can be quantified to the economic loss. Every single life, I think, in my opinion, is more better than any economic loss that we have suffered. So we know the history. Now, When in this public platform, he once said that, oh, it is okay to give farmers haircut because it eats into their profit. It is not their capital. On the same token, on the same measure, on the parity of reasons, on the same yardstick, it is not okay to give investors who are earning interest on their investment when the economy is in crisis for you to give them haircut. You see the double standard. That on one side, you think that it is not okay to give haircut to bondholders, to pension fund holders whose investment are earning them some income, and that because of the crisis, the government should not do anything about that. But it is okay for government to go and cut the earnings of cocoa farmers. These are the things, and this is what happens to us is the politics. The politics of choosing and picking which one is right when you are in government or which one is wrong. Look, as a minimum, I believe that when there is a crisis, a government will have to take a decision. Either one, to absorb the crisis and let the macro-fiscal go off, or to transfer the crisis to the people. Government and the decision they are willing to take. One, if you decided to say that in 2026, 2027 crop year, cocoa farmers had the same situation that we are facing now. The same 8-year cycle that he mentioned that we have commodity crisis. I mean, there's going to be like, for this commodity price, for every 8 years, there's bound to be, or there's likelihood to be that particular crisis. In 2027, the same thing happened. But the government did not go around blaming the NDC for the crisis that they left. The government did not go around trying to push blames. The NPP government took the responsibility and safeguarded the farmers by protecting their guaranteed prices. It came at a cost, of course. But it was a conscious decision we took to protect the farmers. If you are not doing the same and you are justifying that, it's okay to justify because every government and its economic policy. But it is not okay for you to tell us that there's nothing that the government can do about the situation. And that the only way for you is to transfer the burden, part of the burden to the farmer. In any case, you are making comparison with a hypothetical situation in Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire has announced their price, which is far more than the price we are giving farmers. When they announced, we told them that, look, farmers are likely to smuggle their goods to Cote d'Ivoire to sell.
So this situation that we just painted in Cote d'Ivoire is not one that is of consideration to you.
No, I'm coming. You are using hypothetical
this
situation.
Is what is being reported.
No, you are using hypothetical. It's been reported. What we know as a fact. This
particular difference.
No. What we know as a fact is that Cote d'Ivoire, the Cocoa Council in Cote d'Ivoire has issued a statement stating their price. This is what you are contemplating. If it comes, then Cocoa Board also maintains their price because the price has reduced further. And they also maintain their prices, which is supposed to be in October or so. Okay, then we can then be doing the analysis. But what we know is that Ghana reduced its prices by giving a haircut of 1,000 Ghana cedis to the farmers. Cote d'Ivoire decided to maintain their prices for their farmers. And they even issued a directive to the effect that if anyone is found flouting that particular minimum price rule, the person will be prosecuted. So until such time that Cote d'Ivoire comes with any haircut, we cannot be arguing with conjecture. We cannot be using assumptions to be. I'm saying that nothing has taken effect because Reuters is reporting that it's likely to set in. Nothing has taken effect. That's what they give me any evidence.
From next month, not in
so
October.
Whatever it is, but they have to announce it. They have to now. The council has not announced anything as of now. So we shouldn't be doing conjecture. You cannot say that. Even people are predicting. Industry players are predicting that Cocoa Board is likely to further cut the prices because of the further reduction in prices. So do we say that by that cocoa farmers has reduced the prices? We cannot say that. So for me, let's stay true to the facts. The facts are that Cocoa Board is giving farmers a haircut of 1,000 Ghana cedi. You say it is okay to give those farmers that haircut, but it's not okay for farmers, for investors who are earning interest to be given haircut when there's a crisis. That is your standard. Again, this government would always come to you and say, oh, this economy, and I think that maybe there's a different platform will talk about the economy because I saw the topics you've sent to us. That's why I'm resisting the temptation to respond to the factors, issues raised with respect to the economy. But on the cocoa issue, it is purely a self-inflicted situation. The government made politics with cocoa. They made the whole world to understand that cocoa farmers were worse off under the MPP. They took a decision, a deliberate decision, and they mounted podiums to speak bad about the protection and even the policies the MPP was putting in place to protect the farmers. Now that we are in 2026, 1 year down the line, they are trying to rationalize, they are trying to wash away, they are trying to let the farmer understand that, well, 2,587 Ghana cedi for the bag is better than 3,625 Ghana cedi for the bag. Who in his elementary analysis would even come to the contemplation and acceptance of same that if I'm taking 3,625 and that someone is taking 2,500 as the price of cocoa for the bag, the person who is taking the 2,500 is better than the person who is taking the 3,600. I'm not sure anyone would come to such a conclusion.
You mean there's 2,000, if you say that 2,500 thereabout, as against the 3,600.
Yeah, that's the point. I'm saying that 2,500 over 3,600, that's the point I'm making. They're the same thing.
It's just a matter of communication and clarity.
Yeah.
So that's 2,000. Yes, this is what you're talking about. These two. But then again, I'll come to you. Sorry, you respond to a number of the issues. Matikbebu as well. Let me acknowledge the presence of Professor Godfrey Popkin. He is a professor of finance at the University of Ghana Business School. Prof, I'm going to come to you in a bit, but good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, no, it's just a background. But you see, Dr. Kabiru, you referenced what led to this situation. For you, the option would have been government coming through to cushion the cocoa farmer instead of passing on part of the burden. In 2017, there was a crisis situation that we're faced with. How much of the world market price were you paying to the cocoa farmer at the time as compared to what is happening now?
I'm saying that I can't give you the exact percentage. I'll be lying if I say I can go back to history to tell the percentages. And to say that what I do know is that cocoa prices are determined for the season in collaboration with the farmers.
Right.
Whatever was agreed. And even before that, before even 2026, 2020, even 2016, 2017, it was already been determined, right? So I will not be able to go into history to tell you how much of it was paid to them. I'll be lying to you.
Okay.
But what I do know is that the agreed price, which agreed price farmers had no issue with, was paid to them. And even when the prices reduced, government still took a decision to maintain the prices to protect the disposable incomes of the farmers. That is the point that we all admit that it is true, it did happen, the government protected them, and the government could have, or this government could have protected them on the same token.
I asked the same question of Felix Ofosu earlier. I think you were seated by him when I asked that question about that option of a bailout which you proposed, which has been your position.
Before even that, I listened to the LB's